executive session tonight.
I've got a couple of personnel items, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind. One is an update on Lister's office staffing options, and the second has to do with an employee benefits question I have for the board.
Any other reasons? If not, we need a motion.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go executive session after the meeting for one on the lister and one on the employees. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Do we need to amend the agenda this evening?
I don't have anything extra.
If not,
So moved.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We need to act on the minutes of July 17th. Any admissions, corrections?
Now granted, I was only
Hearing
sort
none.
of here on the phone, but
You've got one that's-
as far as the sidewalk letter, I thought that was a 3-2 vote rather than a 5-0 vote.
I don't know, but I can certainly defer to you on that,
I
or Kelly.
think
We can go
you're
back and look at our minutes. on
Because
that.
I think Tom and Hank voted against it, and Joe, Alicia, and I voted to send the letter to the state.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think
That's what I
correct.
thought,
That
yes.
is
Very
correct.
good. So
Okay.
at the very bottom
So at the
of
bottom-
the second page,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
That's
make
a
a
3
note.
to 2
Have Kelly
vote.
make a note.
we can make that change and you can still sign it.
All right.
Thank you.
You get that, Kelly, make that note, the correction on there for me.
They can get your own page probably.
Yeah. That's for being so far away.
Oh, hey, you know.
On the order side, we got several of them.
Yes.
So the first one is the one from 8-1, the big one.
Okay, I'm not sure, does that have 9,800 on it? Because I had a
It
question.
starts with a 900 for the first
It's
one.
dated in the top left-hand
Yeah.
corner,
Oh,
August
top left,
1, 19.
Hardest one.
It would be the, when you're, well, you probably like me didn't
Yeah.
print it out, so.
Okay, it's
You have, which item are you concerned?
It's 9,800.
And the biller is?
You registered Sam, and I'm wondering why you registered him or her.
Yeah. It is a government requirement that we maintain a certain number and password and keep it updated in terms of town information and banking information to stay eligible for federal loans and
grants.
grants.
So $800 to register?
Yes.
Wow, okay. Okay.
It's for several years. It's for
Oh,
several
okay,
years.
it's not a one-year thing,
No.
okay.
I think it's 5 years.
Okay.
I had a question, $1,076, it just says steering tires for the 350.
Yeah, well, as
truck.
you know, we had some trouble with the 350 shimmying at high speeds. They did a repair on it several weeks back, and that was paid. And they were still noticing an issue at very high speeds, 60, 65. I don't know where they would be driving at that speed.
why are we going that fast?
Well, that's kind of what I was wondering, but,
Turned out that the tires needed replacing, so they bought a set of new tires.
So was that $1,076 just for 2 tires or for?
I believe it's for 4 tires, the full set, and that was about 800 plus labor and
It just says here steering tires.
No, I
so
understand. Unfortunately-
I assumed that was just the front axle and that's a small truck.
Yeah,
It seemed
unfortunately,
like a lot of money.
there's
for
very
the
little that we
Pricey
can,
tires.
there's very little that we can put into the
Right.
description because of space.
Now,
But we always do get the three prices on
Another
tire
question
purchases.
that comes with that is that
Yep.
apparently they bought them from Stone.
Mm-hmm.
And I have done my best over the years to try to get whoever is buying tires to check around on the phone. I do a lot of business with John Rouse myself, but I'm not saying that's the place to go for everybody, but lots of times a phone call can save you several $100s when you're buying big truck tires.
And we have talked about
And-
that, Chad and I know he makes it a practice to make those calls because he
Yeah.
knows that there are several members of the board concerned about that. I can confirm it if you'd like that it was done in this
Well-
instance, just to make you comfortable that it was.
I
I'll
hope
let you know.
that's the way it's going.
Sure.
No, we got shrubs and plants, $1,156
Yep.
out here around the office. That's been done.
It has not been. You may have wondered why we still have these unsightly bushes up front.
They're gonna be
Our
replaced.
bucket loader was out of commission. We're gonna borrow the water department's tractor and put those in the ground Friday on a scaled back proposal. Some of that cost is for the welcome sign area,
Yeah.
for some plantings there, but the rest of it will be boxwoods up front here at the town offices. And we'll see how it looks after that to decide whether we need any more plantings in the future.
Is this something that, kind of an in-house deal, and they're just buying the shrubs, or are they?
Well, we have working with Al Roberge, who's helped us in the past with plantings around the building, and he's gotten us wholesale pricing, and he's
donated
donated
his
most
labor
of his
for the
labor,
sign.
all the labor at the welcome sign, and
Yep.
is asking for a small fee to
Yep.
help us with this. But a highway crew will be helping him dig holes and then
Right.
backfill it and
And
stuff.
pull out the old stuff, yeah.
Yeah. We may even need some bark mulch, so stay tuned.
Another question, I'm jumping from one set of orders to the other.
Sure.
I see that it's Otter Creek Engineering, it's apparently Depot Hill is through the month of June, figures up to just under $8,000. That's just to study that.
It's to do the design work. We had done a preliminary design, and now they're actually doing the design of it. And that's going to be discussed a little bit later tonight when we hopefully execute the loan document that'll allow us to get state low interest or no interest loan funding for this design work. So half of which I think is forgivable when the project gets done.
That'll probably, we'll see that later.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
What was the water department land purchase?
We haven't made a purchase yet. We've been in discussion with Ronnie Smith, who has a piece of land next to our reservoir on Plains Road. But beyond our main reservoir are a couple of laid-up stone reservoirs that are not on town property. We've had a right-of-way to service them, but both the water department, sewer department that works with them, and the water commission had thought that it'd be good to control our own destiny in terms of all the trees and hazards around those two reservoirs. So by purchasing approximately 4 acres of land, we're surveying it, that's what this cost is for. We'll be able to come to a price with Ron Smith and hopefully close on a purchase.
He's willing to sell
He's
it.
willing to sell it. He's gonna sell the rest of it to someone else, but it came to us first because he thought we might want to have the opportunity to buy that.
Good idea.
Any other questions on the order? We have an FY19 also, a short one. Any questions on that?
That should be pretty much the end of
That's the end of the-
FY19. We always have a couple months spillover for older matters that were purchased in the previous fiscal year.
I guess that goes on that one, this year. Today. There's three of them on this one. Maybe it's a stamp. We're not done yet. There's my tab.
What would really get him if he went like ding, ding.
Over there? Well, not much being said, so it'll be something. Zero. Town manager's report.
Thanks, Chief. The town has spoken with 2 roofing carpentry contractors from whom we expect to receive proposals to address the leaky roof at the transfer station shed. One quote is in hand and I'm awaiting the other. I've sent a reminder asking them to expedite that. Markowski Excavating will begin approximately 3 weeks of work reconstructing the stretch of West Creek Road between the Bovey Farm to the north and the Hard Farm to the south, and they'll begin doing that work on Monday, August 12th. Paving will follow about a month later. Markowski Excavating will begin immediately after the West Creek Road reconstruction work with about 4 weeks of work reconstructing a stretch of Whipple Hollow Road between the railroad trestle at the intersection of West Creek Road to the east and the Dido Dip, so-called, beyond the west entrance of Omea on or about September 3rd, with pavement coming for both projects immediately after work is done on Whipple Hollow Road. The highway crew intends to begin work shortly on a project to widen West Creek Road a bit to better enable 2 approaching trucks to pass each other in the area where Omea recently raised a house they had purchased. It's across from the Joel Robin property. And I don't mean pass each other, but I mean cross paths with each other without going on to Mr. Robin's property. So we appreciate Omea's cooperation on that. Should only be a couple-day project, we think. The Regional Planning Commission has, on our request, deployed its traffic counter device on Furnace Road by the Wedding Cake House at the town's request again. As you may recall, the Marzick-Garriers, or Abby Marzick-Garrier, had asked the town to do so, as she has at the same time asked for a speed limit reduction. We explained to her that we need to perform an investigation before we can consider that, and that's what this traffic counter is all about. The week-long deployment is ending about now, so we should be able to expect a report from them sometime in the future. A library bench dedication event. There'll be a library bench dedication event on Saturday, August 17th, Pittsford Day, at noon at the McClure Library. There is a flyer, and the public is certainly welcome to attend, but that'll take place so that we can have an opportunity to thank the talented young artists who did the great work on this piece of Indiana limestone, and people can see it being unveiled. Alicia and I have seen it firsthand and met the artists, and I gotta say it's a very impressive piece. It's a bench shaped like an open book.
Yeah, it's
And
cool.
it's
Cool.
wonderful, and hopefully it'll last for a good long time and really spruce up the grounds of the library with a wonderful spot for reflection and contemplation, perhaps. So stay tuned. That's Saturday, the 17th at noon at the McClure Library. Unfortunately, the GovDeals online auction of the soon-to-be retired police cruiser was unsuccessful in that the town's reserve price was not quite met. The original plan to simply trade in the old cruiser at the quoted price will now proceed. This transaction should take place, we think, in the next few weeks, because they've already given us word that they've put the vehicle on a truck, or on a train, headed this way. Finally, Kit Shaw has resigned his posts on the Rutland County Solid Waste District and the Rutland Regional Transportation Council due to work commitments. The town will attempt to recruit replacements, although we already have one other representative on each of these boards who will be able to fill in. That's it.
Thank you, Don.
Sure.
Do we have any select board member remarks this evening?
I have a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
You do too,
so-
okay, I have one.
So, and maybe it's because we haven't been getting the full packets that I feel like I'm not getting all the information that I need, like the budget workshop, John, I would like to sign up for that.
Okay.
And I got that only because I get the VLCT emails. But that and like the leadership conference, like I'd seen that on like Facebook. It would have been nice, I think it's nice for us to hear like the workshops that are going on. It's important for the trainings, I think, for all of us to go. So, and I'd like to keep up to date. And then I was surprised to see that after our big media discussion last meeting, that we're paying for the Facebook page to get set up.
Yes, I've authorized $200 to Jackson Wheelan to set one up for us.
All right, because I had offered to do it for free. And
I
it's-
don't
and
recall
there's-
that you had offered to do that.
Yeah, and
That's my mistake.
I see like he's already gotten paid, and it's not up yet because I checked.
No, I know, and that did catch my attention, but I do know that we have an ongoing relationship with them. I'm
Yeah.
confident it will be done. I'm sorry I didn't understand you correctly.
Yeah, and I just
appreciate
think
that.
in general, because the website really does need to be updated, and I checked with other people, and the $2,500 that he priced out is that for that, and I mean $200 to set up the Facebook page. I mean that takes 20 minutes.
Okay,
So
well,
it's just
I'll have
it's
to admit my
really.
ignorance about it, because
I just think we could be doing better, like getting better quality for less money. Even if you don't want me to do the Facebook page and you want it to be kind of farmed out, I still think we can be getting better prices on all
It's
that.
not that I didn't want you to do it, I simply didn't know, didn't recall that you had offered to do it.
I'm just
Well,
saying,
That's my
so it
mistake.
just,
Yeah.
That's my mistake.
I remember the comment being made, because it was something about, well, I think, even I said it, is somebody here offering to do it? And Alicia said yes.
Oh, okay, well, I'm sorry I
So-
missed that. As to the website update, I agree, it's been about 10 years, and that's a millennium in digital media, for sure.
Yeah.
Absent a desire to work with our existing web person for that, are you suggesting we go out with a request for proposals, perhaps?
I think
Or
so.
talk
I
to
know
other towns?
Elizabeth Sulia does ours, does both the website and our Facebook at the library, and she does the Facebook page for free, the
Yep.
website $40 an hour. And like when I see what he's getting, like every 2 months, we're giving him almost $500. That's, I don't know, like, is that for
That's
more than just
I think
entering?
that's more than 2 months, that's
This
three
one
to
says
3 to
two.
4 months, I think.
Oh, it doesn't say that in the orders. It says 2 months. So,
I gathered that it was 3 or 4 months, but,
yeah.
okay. I'd be happy to.
I just think it's worth looking
Yeah,
into going in
absolutely.
another direction.
I have taken a look at some of the other Facebook pages and some of the other websites, and yes, certainly ours could benefit from some freshening up. I certainly agree with that.
Okay.
Good. I'll report back to you.
Thank you.
Okay. I've had a couple people comment to me about the speed on Arch Street, that maybe the police should be there a little more. I've talked to Chief Warfel. I mean, he explains to me that, there's only one officer on duty and whatever, but I just want people to be aware that I'm getting some complaints about people going through the stop sign and just going way too fast down that road.
Yep.
And I know and I don't know if he's talked to you yet about the speed on the Syndicate Road, about maybe putting a sign there.
We have asked the highway crew to put up signs. The chief wasn't sure that we had a speed limit adopted there, but I showed him the ordinances that have said that absent a specific ordinance to the contrary, all speed limits throughout town are 35 miles an hour. So that does cover this, and we can certainly put up signs to remind people of that. And I've asked the highway crew to do that.
I would suggest, I mean, certainly they can put one on the beginning of it.
Right,
I wouldn't put a sign much past Mike Sullivan's or it'll just disappear.
disappear.
I'm just
The
saying,
chief had suggested on this side of the bridge for people coming in, but you're saying that's out of sight and therefore.
oh God, it'll
could
be gone
gone.
and it'll be
2
full of
minutes.
bullet holes within 5 hours and gone within a week.
Yeah.
I'm just
No,
saying,
I hear you.
I'm
thank
just
you for
saying,
that.
you know, but if you get back, you've got a road not maintained during the winter.
Yeah.
And that, they haven't bothered that. In that area there, I think it's probably still safe.
Okay,
But you get much beyond Zelazny's milking barn and it's
Forget it.
a whole nother world.
got it. Thank
I would also like, if the town is willing to pay for it, to go to that budget conference with Alicia.
you. Oh, sure.
Okay.
We always want to help get people as much training as they'd
Yep.
like, yeah.
And given the fact that there's quite a lot of chatter around town about the blue house at the school, could we get that on our next agenda so that we could discuss and you do what research you can? I know Jeff Biasuzi is looking into some of it,
Yeah.
and
The zoning officer, yeah.
the zoning officer, yes.
Yep. I will be happy to do that.
Okay. I think that's all I got for now.
I would just like to comment and thank, I don't know, was it the highway crew that put up the flags?
Yes,
Nice
Greg,
job. It's nice to see some
noticed
flags
that.
in our
Josh,
village.
and,
Some American flags
Peter.
flying in the village of Pittsford. I've been a long time trying to get those.
and that's maybe just phase one.
That's phase one, yeah, I was gonna
Depending
say,
on
we're
budgetary
trying
limits, you
to
know.
come up with, similar to what you see in other towns, I'd pick Middlebury, for example, they have those
Banners.
banners that
Yeah.
would, maybe Sunshine Village, something
Yeah.
like that, we're gonna come up with
Covered
something like
bridge,
that.
perhaps.
Sort of in between the American flags, which would be
Oh.
nice.
By the way, we have half a dozen more, which certainly could be
do.
posted closer to the firehouse for
Okay.
Pittsford Day, if you'd like to do that.
We'll-
That might be
we'll
a
get it
question
done.
for Josh, because I think they've got a ladder handy for that.
Okay, yep.
We talked about Arch Street or even Pleasant Street.
Yep, I wrote it, okay, that's all I got. Do we have any public comment this evening?
I'd like to talk to myself tonight, but I don't know if this is the time on your agenda when you...
We've got you on the agenda a little bit later under new business, but we're gonna get to the visitors
Okay.
first, so you'll
Thank
be,
you.
won't have to wait much longer, I think.
No, actually, if you want, we can take new business first. I think we'll switch new business for old business. Under new business, we're gonna, number one would be remarks from Chuck Greeno, donation to the fire department. You're
Yeah.
up, Chuck.
Up, Chuck.
Thanks, board. That time of year again, where we donate $1,000 to the fire department. And just again, like to say thank you. We really appreciate it. This is our 4th year, $4,000 to the department. We really hope that it is being used.
It's put- I'm sure it's put to use well.
And that they can feel it. We are very grateful to be here and have been for 4 years. This fall, we'll be going in front of you guys again to ask for a permit. I'm hoping that maybe the board this year sees us as a long-term resident and maybe gives us more than just a year permit. Rutland Town last year gave us a 2-year permit, for instance. It just gives us a little leeway. You, as the town, could always stop in and pull the permit because it's up to the board's discretion anyway. But it would give us a little, we feel like we've backed the town quite a bit, and we're hoping that the town sees us as a good entrepreneurs and will back us and maybe give us a little bit more than 1 year on a permit. But that's for another time or whatever. We're going to come in the fall and ask.
And suggest on your application, request a 2 years, and see what happens.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. But the check anyway.
We'll take that.
We'll take it. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night.
Thank
See
you.
you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Chuck, I neglected, or Tom, I neglected to mention that we have somebody wanted to speak under public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think that was Jack Rogers.
Oh, well.
Did you want to say something, Jack? I know you
This
wanted
is
to
your
come in
opportunity.
for public comment.
Public comment. I'll go back to that.
Is this the same time that we're gonna discuss right here?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, because it's not on the agenda,
I
because you
know.
came in kind of after it had been posted.
Well, I've been in town for 23 years. Finally, as of September 1st, I'll be a taxpayer. So I'll get the chance to feel all the pain that you folks feel. I'm here tonight because I was a lister for 5 years. I know that the lister's department is a little short of help. And I'd like to be considered for that position again. Hopefully, I've gone through and taken all the courses that NEMRIC, which is the state-controlled educational program, have offered to listers all over the state. To the best of my knowledge, I've passed every one of them and taken them on. I'm also am a fee appraiser. So I think I come two things: a good attitude and plenty of qualification.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under new business, number 2, consider request on a coin drop on Sarah's Stories.
I'm Kayla Desibray, and I'm a part of Sarah Stories, and we're here to ask for your consideration to let us host another coin drop. This is our 3rd or 4th year in order to raise funds for our book program for Pittsford resident children 0 through 5. We work to give out books every month to the preschool. We bring our book boxes to the preschool, to Pittsford events, to give out to Pittsford residents. So the fundraising is really important for our program. We also have a chili cook-off in the fall as well. So we work on raising our funds in the fall to fund our program for the year.
I have one question. I've had several people ask me that, and had a couple people come that were quite upset. And it's
Yeah.
only the Pittsford's children that they give a book to, but yet the comment was made, I'm not from Pittsford, but I gave money at the coin drop, and my child was refused a book. That kind of doesn't set well with me.
Yeah,
If it's a
right.
child, they ought to get a book. I don't care.
So we have started,
You know.
that's where we really fight with this program, is we want to first serve the Pittsburgh students, but we would like to be able to spread it. We also have a book bin that we also buy books for. They aren't the quality or like the hardcovers that we give the Pittsburgh residents, but we do have paperbacks for kids that come up to our table at the events that happen in Pittsburgh.
Is it the same book?
It's not the same book.
That, you know, if,
I totally
yeah,
understand.
that's where I have a problem with it.
Yeah,
But, you know, if a child's there and they ask for a book, I just wouldn't give you the money out of my pocket so the kid gets a book. You know, that's my feeling. But
we wish we
because
could.
we're asking for money from people that come from out of town to buy these books.
The books are run through the library, and the library
And
takes out of town people at the library. And if we're gonna do a whole Pittsburgh event, you know,
I think
free
any
to the
kid
public,
that, yeah, any
everybody
kid that wants a
should get
book
one.
should get one. That's my personal feeling. Even if I had to give you an extra donation, I'd be more than willing to do it. But I just think that's unfair to a little kid standing there saying, can I have that book? And they say, no, because you're not from Pittsford.
So my
And
vote
there's
is-
not that many that come, I don't believe that will ask for a book. I'm just laying out for what I've had
I
people,
totally understand, and we want to
you
be
know.
able to offer it of the same book, but
My vote is gonna
But
depend on whether you can guarantee us that that will happen.
yeah, and mine also. Because it's not only this year, but every year I've had the same people come back to me and say, what's the matter with you people? You know, we understand what you're doing, and I think it's a wonderful thing. But I just don't think it's, I can't see a little kid standing there crying because they can't have that book that the other kid got. That just bothers me.
No, I hadn't heard that happen.
I
mean,
have.
My boy has gotten books from Sarah's Stories
Oh,
during preschool and other
yeah,
events,
I-
and
so
I
maybe we
mean,
just keep it to, I mean,
I'm just throwing it out. It's-
I totally
You know,
understand,
yeah.
and that's something that we've thought with, since we started the program. So maybe we need to look at posting, sending them in the mail, rather than doing Pittsburgh.
Then do it there where, yeah, because it's happened a couple, 3 times that I personally know of.
But it's probably more the fact, it certainly isn't that you're mean and you
No,
don't wanna give this child.
no,
It's a fact,
exactly.
you don't
Not having
have the
enough bugs.
funding
Yeah.
to do it. So, and that's,
But-
I think, the thing the people need to understand is,
Yeah, but still, it's,
so,
So I think
I
with
mean, it's
proper
no diff-
signage would be, you know what I mean? If you
Yeah,
said,
I
for,
mean-
you know, free books for, you know, kids 0 to 5, you know, Pittsford,
Yeah,
you know, somehow
and
have
we
it
do.
on there so no one's maybe taken aback, but, because
Yeah.
I mean, I know you guys have done great
oh,
work
it's
for the last.
a wonderful program, there's
handful
no
of years.
question. Oh, yeah, I'm not saying it isn't.
or,
We just try to go to the Pittsford events to get our face out there to reach those kids
Right.
that don't come to the library to sign up or
Mhm.
we don't know about, so we get those kids, but we also get kids out of town, which is the
Yeah.
hard, so that's why we.
Maybe it's a different way to give the Sarah books and not their Pittsford Day where, you know, so that you don't have that problem somehow. I don't know. It's,
Well, that-
I
yeah.
heard it happen again last year, so I don't know. I'm just throwing it
Well,
out there.
I totally understand, and it's just our funding.
So this is really a request
This-
for the town to support your application to V-Trans, because
Yeah.
it's a V-Trans highway that
Right.
you need to fill a form out for.
Yeah.
So the question is whether you want to
Yeah.
endorse that application or not.
Is this a consensus or a vote?
But it'd have to be a vote.
I make a
I believe.
motion that
It'd
we
have to be a vote.
endorse this.
I
I'll
second.
You know, I support it,
I know.
but I'm just throwing this out there so
I
that
totally
maybe you can
understand.
take it back to your committee and work out a different way so we
Yes,
don't
for
have
sure.
that
And-
happen.
Well,
in
no,
public.
and that's,
And-
yeah, but I don't think not letting them
Oh,
have.
I'm not saying
Not
not
letting
letting
them
them have
have
it, no. I didn't say that.
the drive is gonna solve your problem.
Right. Oh, no,
and it's,
I'm gonna support the drive, but this is a message to them, maybe they need
No,
to
and
do it
that's-
different. And if they wanna continue to support, I think it needs to change, so
Well,
we don't have
it
that
would-
happen again. But,
I assume that you're doing the best you can with the money you have to work with.
yes.
Yeah.
If you
I'm
had
sure
more
they are.
money, you'd do more.
Of course.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
oh, I've helped on those
to me,
drives, so I'm not
like,
against
you
it.
need our
No, but
support,
it's-
and you have mine,
Thank you.
no strings attached.
Mine too, I mean, my truck's out there running red lights for a long time.
We really appreciate
So,
everything
yeah.
that the town
Oh,
does. and we-
no, I support it that way.
Yeah. Well,
But
we're
I'm just
definitely
trying to give you the
keep
message.
looking for different options for postage so that
Yeah.
we can mail the books to kids that aren't necessarily reached at events that we go to. But maybe we just don't go to events. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking it's just a way to do it so the other kids don't stand there crying. But, oh well. We have a motion on the floor in a second. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no? Yes, no?
I said aye.
He said,
Aye. So it's unanimous.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thanks.
I do have one more.
Yeah, do you want to give that to me? And I think I have to have the chief sign it, the chief of police. And I can
Consider
email that
request
to
from
you.
landowners seeking an
Email
Act
address.
250 permit, Von Turkovich.
1 second, I'm sorry, Kayla? Yeah,
You can, go ahead.
very good, thank you.
Trying to
Thank you,
multitask.
You just said.
I'm here tonight because we're working on the redevelopment of the Kelly House property on the corner of Plains Road and Route 7. We have so far obtained a local permit, as you folks probably are aware, and we are in the Act 250 process. One of the requirements from the state is that we apply for a V-Trans permit to do some work that will take place in the state right-of-way. And that'll include an extension of the sidewalk on the south side of Route 7, a crosswalk, and some other alignment changes that would happen at the intersection, all of which work will be taken care of by us. We'll pay for that, of course, and it won't cost the town anything. The one thing the town could do for us that we're really grateful for is we would be the co-applicant on that permit, and the town would be the applicant. The advantage is that if the town is the applicant, and I believe actually V-Trans requires the town to be the applicant, that they don't charge a fee. The state doesn't charge a fee, so that'll save us some money, and we'd rather spend it on something else. In fact, I'd rather help support this lady's book drive than to pay another. No offense against the state of Vermont, but they've taken a lot out of us, and we think money ought to be spent here. So if you would accommodate that, we'd be grateful.
It's the board's pleasure.
Was there anything like attached to it, any legal wise going down the road
I
or?
don't want it to be felt that the town is,
Taking sides
anyway
or
taking sides. in
endorsing
it.
a
It's been
project?
kind of a hot issue in town. I don't know where we stand on that.
No, this is the realignment of Plains Road and Route
And Route
7, correct?
where they would be cutting the
Yes.
bank out.
That's what this,
And the sidewalk work and the crosswalk that we would be required to install. So these are all safety
I
features
think we
which,
should, that's, yeah, it's gonna
from my
improve the,
standpoint, are beneficial to
improve
the
the Plains
town
Road.
anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
And
if it's gonna have to be done.
they wouldn't be happening until the future improvements come along. So, I mean, we would do this work relatively soon, hopefully next spring, next summer.
so this is something that probably would take place, I mean, how do I want to ask this? Let's just say, as you go through the Act 250 process, this may take place before that process is completed or after?
After.
So it's not something that would happen before? Okay.
It wouldn't really be a good reason to do that, and we would do all this in coordination with the town anyway. Once it's approved and the work is scheduled, we work with your folks to do this.
Can you explain a little bit more about why V-Trans requires the town to be an applicant?
Yeah,
If it's your project?
I wasn't clear on that until today, John. The agency, when work is going to happen in the right-of-way, on these kind of facilities, V-Trans has specified that the town must be the applicant, and that we must be the co-applicant. All it means is we have to pay for it, but you folks have to authorize it. So it's why that
just don't see.
setup works or is required, I'm not clear on. It wasn't our choice, but it does have an impact on us, and it saves us.
Is there any obligation that comes with applicant status? Like, I know we've already agreed to maintain the sidewalk once it's
Right.
there, and I think we've also agreed in the appeal to maintain the traffic crosswalk-related flashing light.
Right.
Right.
But I think that's been the limit of what, and we've agreed that we can provide water and sewer with you as a customer there. But other than that, I don't think the town's ever offered to do anything more than that. But are there any other restrictions or requirements that would come with applicant status,
No.
other than just allowing your project to go forward?
There aren't any other requirements. We haven't asked the town to do anything of that nature, don't have any intention of asking the town to do anything, and this is simply this is just, I mean, it seems to me it's a win-win situation for us and the town, and it's something the state requires. Now, why the state even requires a fee for this is sort of lost on me, because we're doing work to improve their highway too, so we'll do all the work, it won't cost the town anything. There's no requirement in the permit or anywhere else for the town to take any responsibility.
Do we need to verify that? Look into
I
it?
think it'd probably be a good idea for us to
To-
talk to the same people you've talked to, maybe hopefully get the same explanation that we're not biting off more with the applicant status. Who was it that you dealt with at V-Trans, if you could tell me? Not that I don't trust your word on it, but like, trust and verify, they
Yeah, I
say.
agree.
Yeah, verify.
I don't know the name, but I do have the
We can make a
V-Trans
motion of
permit application
verification.
here, so can I leave this with you,
Yeah,
John?
absolutely.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I agree, you
With
should call and,
We could move-
is the loss of
Double
2 weeks
verification.
critical to you?
no.
Okay, so if we had it on the agenda for the next
I think
meeting,
we should-
that would be all right for us to decide at that point after we've
Absolutely.
done some
Thank
research?
you. Yeah,
Which
no,
is
I
no
think we
rush,
should.
yeah.
I just wanted to see you folks
Yeah.
personally and
Yeah.
answer any questions you have.
And can you get copies of that to us so we
Yeah.
can see it too?
Yep, yep.
So we know
Yeah.
exactly what it is we're
Sure.
getting into?
And I can tell you again, at that time in 2 weeks, what we've learned
Let's
from
table it
V-Trans.
tonight and
Yeah,
bring it up at
he's
the next
agreeable with
meeting.
that.
Okay.
Good, we'll do that.
Thank you very much.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
As long as I'm here, can I ask you one more question? Does the town, is anyone here today from the fire department? Are there any of you folks?
I'm the ex-chief, maybe I can, I don't know.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm still on the department.
Well, do you remember years back when the garage or the old store building partially
Uh-huh.
burned?
Yeah.
The fire department took the rest of it down as a training
We did.
exercise. Would you be interested in looking at that for the house?
Oh, Let me run that, the only problem with that is such a close proximity to Route 7 with the smoke issues and stuff, I don't know. I'll run it by the chief.
If you would,
And the officers. I'm still a safety officer. That would be my only concern,
Okay.
would be possibly the smoke conditions.
And
where you have to-
rubberneckers stopping in the middle
Yeah,
of the
being so
road.
close to Route 7, if it was out of the way somewhere, it might not be such a problem, but.
Or we could do it when the coin drops happen.
Set up the coin drop right in front of it.
Sell tickets, for their coin drop, sell tickets to watch the fire.
Probably worked out pretty well.
Yeah, sure
Go
might.
together.
I will run that by him and have John get back to you.
All right, well, thank you very much.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Okay, let's flop back to old business and then we'll finish the rest of it. After get rid of this-
confusing.
I know, it's confusing. Get rid of the good stuff here. Consider the sidewalk, curb restoration. Let's get that out of
Mr.
the
Chairman,
way.
I have a
Yes.
proposal here that I think we can take some money out of,
Okay,
without hurting the taxpayers nor hurting anything else. John?
Thanks.
What we have is a bridge reserve
I
fund
think there's two there.
and a highway capital fund. If you look at the unaudited balance on 7/1/2020, the bridge fund will have $510,000 in it. On the same date, highway capital fund will have 493 out of it. And I think the bridge fund, we need to come up with 10% of the cost of the new bridge. Which I think we're in very good shape on that at this point. We were talking a $3 to $4 million bridge. We've certainly got our ducks in a row on that one.
We have been,
So I would suggest using 50,000 from the bridge fund and 25 from the village fund and the highway fund for our match.
Just a little bit of further background. As you'll see, as you saw in your packets, we've done a little bit more work. We've put together the requested letter to the state suggesting that we still think it's their issue. Can they do better on the 50-50 grant match? Second, we've asked a couple of contractors besides Wilk Paving for their thoughts, and neither of them, both of them are interested in giving us a quote, but they haven't done so yet. And basically, I've been stiff-armed to some degree by V-Trans, who says, well, we need to know a little bit more about the project, and that's kind of a chicken and egg issue, because I don't think we're going to know much more about what V-Trans requirements will be until and unless we sign the commitment letter to V-Trans saying that we're prepared to go forward with the project, and then they get involved and tell us kind of what the process will require in terms of bidding and specifications for the project that they would approve. So there's lots of little levers to pull here, and that's for you all to hash through.
I think this proposal offers a chance to make a commitment to the state.
I've got another suggestion. I travel around quite a bit, all over New England, pretty near, and I see quite a bit of different traffic patterns, line markings, and I've got a suggestion. They just painted a new white line down through there. Looks good. Set right in the width, leave a space, and paint a red line inside on the sidewalk side, parallel with their white line. Put up some signs, no passing on right. There's stuff in this information that John gave us that says it's illegal to pass on the right. There's an example of what happened up in the northern part of the state somewhere. It's all right in here. If everybody read everything, they saw it. You know?
Yeah.
Black and white.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, tonight.
Now, wait a minute,
Let
I'm
me just-
speaking. Will you hear me out,
I
Tom?
will, but let me just, one example.
You're not
of that.
giving
No,
me
no, I
the
will,
floor.
I will, but I just want, I'll give you the
You
floor.
gotta talk over me.
No, no.
It's time you quit
Okay, all
bullying
right.
me, Tom.
I'm not bullying you a bit,
Well,
Joe.
then
No
wait till
way.
I get done.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Go
I
ahead.
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
The idea would be, this is a temporary fix anyway. It wouldn't cost a hell of a lot to paint another line down through there. Now, I don't know if the state will even let us do that. I was in Ludlow this morning, and their crosswalks, they have a nice white line on each side, and they're kind of a dark maroon or a reddish paint in the center. Stands right out good. Woodstock, their crosswalks are blue with white lines on each side. Stands right up big and tall. We have law enforcement here in town that could help on this issue. If it's a big issue, which a couple people here think it is, and I'm for it, believe me, but I think we're throwing away $200,000. $100,000 of the state and $100,000 of Pittsford taxpayers' money, because this whole thing is all going to be thrown in a dump somewhere in the near future. If the state would allow us to paint another line, I've got an idea how to pay for that paint line. If they would say the town can do it on their own, we could do it on our own. We've got manpower here. But they may not. The state's in charge. No matter what happens down there, the state has to approve it. And that's just a suggestion. A red line, right the whole length of that thing on the inside of the white line. So maybe a sign or two. And some police activities down there, I think would certainly help that problem. Okay, Tom, go ahead.
No, I just want to pick up on, I know you mentioned the passing on the right with a sign. I was just going to give you an example tonight. It happened to me maybe an hour before the meeting. Pine Woods Road, and that was mentioned in our packet tonight. There's a sign there, which there is, state law, no passing on the right. And I had 6 cars pass me on the right waiting. I'm pulling up and they zing, zing, zing. That was tonight. Last night, I flew in from same thing. I'm slowing up the bat and I zing. And this was at 9:30 last night. Signs don't do a darn thing.
I had a dozen cars pass me the other night, coming back from Brandon,
All right.
while they were painting the lines. Pass on the right, between the guardrails and the white line, and the trucks.
So that, as far as police enforcing that's bullcrap, because it doesn't work. Your enforcement on your signs, good example, go right down to the firehouse. Got a big stop sign there. You can sit there all day long, and I'll bet you 8 out of 10 cars don't even stop. They shoot, and you can police it. You could sit there all day long and write tickets. And the next day, you could do the same thing. We don't have the manpower to do it, number one. I mean, they've got other things to do than sit and watch those particular signs. I sat down there by the school a couple weeks ago, just by myself. I said, I'm gonna sit there and just watch at the Furnace Road. They're doing it all the time. Cars line up, and if there's cars going north, and there's cars wanting to turn the police academy, right out around them they go. Signs aren't gonna do it. And I'll tell you what, some kid's gonna get hurt or killed. If you don't wanna do it, I'm fine with it. But that's my vote's gonna be against, because I'm not gonna be the one sitting on this board saying, oh, I'm worried about that 200,000, which won't be done for another 15 years. And I guarantee it won't be.
What are the details in our grant paperwork? Like, could we just make it less expensive and shorten it?
Well,
Or alter it in some way?
certainly, we have the $100,000 grant. So if we find that with bids, $200,000 is
It's
not
less.
adequate, you adjust the
You
scale
adjust
of
it
the
down.
project,
It's a
maybe
50-50.
limiting the length of it, for example.
So you can, okay, because I wasn't
Yeah,
sure
it's
if,
a 50.
I think Butch was under the assumption the state already had like a,
They have a block.
Specific,
They've
like,
earmarked
plan.
$150,000 apparently for it, which
For
is
the
their
job.
way of saying they're gonna match up to $100,000,
Right.
and they've got $50,000
For their engineering.
their engineers to kind of
no,
oversee
that's what I
what we're
mean.
doing.
I mean that the scope is set.
Right.
He was under the
A
assumption the
maximum,
scope
a
was set.
maximum
Maximum.
is, certainly not a
So
minimum.
we
No.
could like take out, like only do it from the second driveway, the north end driveway.
I think
and
that's
do it
right,
up,
but
so
then-
it hugs right around the school and maybe take off
But
some.
regardless of how you reduce the scale of
You've gotta have
it,
a
the state
50-50
will pay no
match.
more than half
Right.
of the cost.
No, I get
Right,
that,
but
I get that.
I think where Alicia's going, because we went
Maybe
out,
cut the
we went out
project
today
down.
and measured, because it's, this whole thing granted, I haven't been on here very long, and it's been going on for a long time,
Yeah.
and I've made some assumptions that I shouldn't have made, and after seeing the packet and some of the stuff that's been going on, the thing is driving me nuts, because a lot of it makes no sense at all. I agree, it needs to be fixed,
It needs to
and
be
we need to
fixed.
figure out a way to fix it one way or another. And I'll expound, Joe, what you're saying, it's gonna be hard to do what you're doing,
Yeah.
because, excuse my language, the mailman drives on the
Yeah,
sidewalk.
exactly.
I saw
You
it.
know, and that,
What sidewalk?
well, no,
there's no
but it is a
sidewalk.
sidewalk, and the mailman drives on it, and what, that should not be happening.
No,
I mean, and people see that, and they assume it's a road.
yeah, I watched them.
But anyway, we measured it up, and I think we came up with, again, and this is taking out the driveways. And you're gonna have to bear with me a few minutes, because this is gonna go on. But anyway, we measured it up, there's 708 feet of actual sidewalk from the north driveway of the school to the guardrail. There's 708 feet, that takes out that big, there's a huge expanse for the Historical Society.
Right.
There's a roadway, there's a bunch of driveways and other
Right.
things. So, at figuring that, and then using Wilk's bid, is it okay for me to speak about that?
Yeah, we have shared it, and again, I don't know
Okay.
that, I don't know that we
That's
won't have to go out to bid
probably
anyway
gonna
with
get
the
anyways.
project.
Okay, using their bid of $130 per linear foot,
Which was
that's
based
90,
on
that's
1,300
92,000.
Which was based on 1,300 feet.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's
Exclude driveways, yeah.
still $130 a linear foot,
Right.
that's $92,000. So, and I think what Alicia's alluding to, if we, and again, these numbers aside, if we can't come up with the other 100,000, if we scale it down, so let's just say the whole project cost 100, and we only had to kick in 50, that makes it more manageable for us.
Right.
I think that's what she was, am I
Yes,
correct?
that was-
That's, and if you do the entire thing, there's 1,001 feet of actual sidewalk.
Okay.
Okay? That takes out all the driveways. I took the liberty, and I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I did anyway, and called Tim Rice at Wilk, and I spoke with him at length. Come to find out, I know him. But anyway, so we talked turkey hunting for quite a while. But anyway, and I asked him if that bid took into account the driveways or not.
Right.
And he's gonna look into that.
Make sure.
He thinks what they did, but again, he doesn't know for sure, is like the Historical Society where you've already got that paved area, they weren't doing that. But like the dirt driveways, they were running the cement sidewalk through them.
If I could just jump in, as
Yep.
I recall, and again, this has been 2 or 3 years in the making, as I recall, at first, I just ran that little lister wheel down from Mechanic down to the guardrail on the theory that there's really no sidewalk for that whole stretch. Yes, you've prioritized it with your approach. And I didn't bother, trying to subtract for sidewalks and all that. I asked Wilk to do that, and I think he walked the project, and I think his estimate is based on more of a hands-on tape of each of the actual paving areas to be done. But that's my recollection.
But again, that doesn't equate to his numbers,
Yeah.
because $130 a
Maybe he'll
linear
come
foot
back,
on
yeah.
1,000 is only 130, not 185.
And maybe he'll
So that,
come
and
back
that's what
and-
drives me nuts on this, because these numbers don't all make sense.
Sure.
So anyway, so in my conversation with him, something that he brought up, because he's like, aren't they tearing that up in a couple of years? And I was like, well, at this point, we don't know, okay? It's scheduled for 2028, but it isn't even on the books for then. And he's like, really? And I was like,
Yeah,
yes.
right.
So he's like, something that has happened in, and I guess where I'm going with this is, something that has happened in Rutland is there's this extruded curbing, which they place down through, and it literally glues to the asphalt, so you end up with a curb.
Of what material? Asphalt?
Asphalt?
No, it's evidently some kind of a cement,
Oh.
that it's hard enough.
So that,
He's gonna look into it, and he's actually gonna put me in contact with the DPW, the head of DPW in Rutland, because they've done it for a number of years.
Mr. Wenberg?
Wenberg.
No, it's not Winberg, it's somebody, no, this is the
Oh,
guy
the
that actually does
engineer?
the work.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So, who knows? Somebody who knows. But anyway, I shouldn't say that on camera. But,
our
So he's
concern-
gonna put me in contact with him to find out the durability and
Our
whatever.
concern was with asphalt, we were told by V-Trans that the
Get that
plows
up.
would chew it up.
They would,
But if you go down where Alicia and I were today by that guardrail, there's an asphalt curb there that's still there. But anyway, that's beside the point. So, and then in my thought process, looking at their numbers, maybe something that would be cheaper for the town to do. Now granted, maybe the state, again, won't
Yeah.
let us do this.
Right.
If that extruded curbing would last, and they could guarantee it would last for 10 years,
Yeah.
okay? And then we run asphalt behind
Behind
it
it.
as a backing for a new sidewalk at $20 a linear foot. Maybe that is something we could just pay for ourselves and not have to
Yeah.
have all this
Go to
money
state.
going out. It's just another
What
option.
about this? How would you like me to have our V-Trans liaison come and address the select board as to what's possible and what's not gonna fly?
I think
So we don't
But, yeah.
waste
that,
effort.
I think we need to, because this thing has become
Yeah.
a giant
Oh,
boondoggle.
yeah.
I know, we just need to kick it.
Yeah.
And I think unless we have them there and we throw these options out
Yes.
to him and he says,
No.
absolutely not,
Yes.
or yes, you can do this, then we can decide.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if we can get out of it, we've got what, 30,000 in the village fund or whatever it
Yeah,
is?
26, 27.
Okay,
Yeah.
if we can get out of it for that amount of money
Mm-hmm.
and be done with it and have the thing in a reasonable, safe state,
Yeah.
we're
Certainly
ahead
be
of
an-
the game.
Be an improvement, for sure.
It would be an improvement.
But I think we are stymied by the fact of not knowing what the state will allow and what they will.
Well, it could
Whether
be.
he's gonna feel comfortable enough to make those calls, or maybe he'll bring his boss, I don't know, but we'll
I don't know,
encourage him to
but-
come.
Well, that's
And
why I didn't
speak to
know,
us?
so none of, it's not, there's not a lot of details in
All
like,
we've done
the
is we
agreement?
submitted a grant application based on the quick and dirty estimate from Wilk.
Right.
Based on that, and based on the fact that they felt some political pressure from visiting us and having us complain to them, they came up with a $100,000 grant, because our price was roughly $200,000. And that,
187 or something.
yeah, but there's certainly, I don't think there's any,
185, yeah.
there's no possibility of problem if we wanted to scale that back.
Oh, I'm sure not.
They'd always match it, that would be found money for them, and they would get us off their back.
We all
Yeah.
know the critical spot is down by the furnace road.
Well, yeah,
That's-
because like I've.
Well, then it's an issue of right-hand turning rather than pedestrian safety for the school.
That's the hot spot as far as I'm concerned. That's where
Because
somebody's gonna
kids
The right hand, and
kids
if you-
use the entire stretch of sidewalk, no? To
Say
get
that
to
again,
them.
what you're.
What would,
Well, you're prioritizing, and I'm not saying it's a wrong decision, but you're prioritizing
From the school.
the Furnace Road intersection because of right-hand
Well, from the
passing.
school, yes, from
But
that,
as opposed to pedestrian safety, which might be an issue as far north as Mechanic, no?
but you never, the only,
You said
the
you've never
only,
seen people-
the only thing I have,
Yeah.
and no offense to this person,
Yeah.
the only thing I have ever seen on that sidewalk from the bridge to the school's first driveway is there's a guy lives in the house with the rusty roof.
Okay.
He parks his truck on there because it's evidently his mother or his
Right.
wife or somebody that he helps in.
Oh, yeah.
That is the only thing, and
We
again.
know good old Joe Pomacala.
He's
I don't have a
He's not
problem,
there.
I don't have a problem with him doing it, but that's the only thing I've ever seen on that sidewalk. And if
Okay.
you take kids that are down in that area,
Okay.
like all the rest of us, they're gonna take the shortest route, and they aren't gonna walk up and go that way to school, they're gonna come through the parking lot, up the goofy stairs, and into the school.
Okay.
And then from there, there's a crosswalk that does then pick up on the other side of the road
Right.
that goes all the way up.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, you
probably
know,
the south driveway from the school down to the furnace road, that's where the problem is. Front of the blue
well, from the,
house,
well,
front of the blue
in
house, down
front,
through.
well, from the north driveway.
Right, oh, north driveway.
North
yeah,
driveway.
From the
this-
town hall.
From the town hall
Yeah, yeah.
down to the, that's
That's
where the
the-
issue
yeah,
is.
yeah.
I
Oh,
feel.
exactly, yeah, it is. There's no problem. Yeah, Mechanic Street, that's not.
Hey,
not
it was
big.
probably about 3 weeks ago or so, I'm going down through, a state trooper had a car right in front of the furnace road. The state trooper was on the sidewalk, the car was on the sidewalk, his lights were flashing, and he was given either a driving award or a driving ticket, whatever it
So
was.
much for
So-
law.
Yeah,
Much-
sure.
Well,
They were both right on the sidewalk.
So- if we
because
had
again,
sidewalk,
and
it
this,
would be
and this
there.
is the issue, you can't tell the sidewalk from the road. I mean, when
Wow.
Alicia and I were measuring,
Yeah.
it's like this, I mean, it's,
All
It's
the same.
bad, we know it's
it's,
bad.
it's,
Which I even hesitate to wait another 2 weeks to have somebody come
Oh.
here and, like,
Well,
is there
put it
any
this
way
way,
we
put
can
it
just
this way.
really
We need
move
to
on
make a
this?
commitment to
That's-
do
I know, I wanna like,
something. You know,
yeah.
I'm sick and tired
Put
for
it this
3
way,
years,
yeah.
we've
Put it
discussed
this way,
this.
the project's
Wait.
not gonna get built till
Right.
next spring anyway.
right.
But what
And that's
we need to
absolute,
do-
why, like,
Well,
why?
first of all,
'Cause
it's
it's
construction
late season.
season.
Late.
We got,
The-
we got
the
They're all
asphalt
flat out
plants-
right
Yeah,
now.
it's not gonna
The
happen.
Like
asphalt
Wilk said,
plants
he's
shut
like-
down in November.
No, it's gonna
And
be
there's
done
gonna be V-Trans red tape that'll involve
early, so it's gonna be spring.
engineering of their own, and then the bid process, which can take place over the winter.
That doesn't make me wanna go with any less speed though, cause at least we
No.
can get
No,
we-
get
but
an
wouldn't we
early
wanna
roster
hear-
for next, you
But-
know?
But because we're all
Next
guessing
year.
what V-Trans may or may not allow, I just think it'd be helpful to hear from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
So that you're not just.
I think what we need to do tonight, we need a commitment from this board that we are gonna go forth, no matter how we do it and
No
come up
matter
with
what.
money, that we are gonna come up and repair that sidewalk from the north end of that school south.
Well, and I just wanna acknowledge that Hank did a great job,
He did it,
you know,
yeah.
figuring
And
all
maybe we
this
may
out
wanna
too.
back to that, I don't care, but we need a commitment from this board that we, yes, we are gonna
Well,
fix that.
at least it gives you a way to pay for the full.
Right, if we
bullet
have
you
to.
wanna
Right.
do it.
If we choose to
If
do
we
that,
choose to
but
do
Absolutely.
it would be
Up to-
nice
up
to
to-
find
Up to.
another way to do it that costs us
Exactly.
less money.
Oh, I
Exactly.
certainly-
Oh.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I don't
But I
disagree
think
100%.
And it solves the problem
But we
because,
need to do something.
and I guess my feeling is, I was gonna bring up tonight, if we were going with the new 5-foot concrete sidewalk, what we need, if we were to do that, what we need from V-Trans is the actual plan of where that sidewalk is gonna be when they do Route 7, so that we put it in the right place.
They would do
Well, that
Or,
won't make any difference.
No,
or
they dig
a
it up
commitment from them that if they tear it up, they replace it.
They would
They-
tear it
they're-
up.
they're gonna
They're
replace it
already gonna
anyways.
replace it because that's always
So
been
it's
their
part of the,
plan.
that's part of the program.
Yeah.
That's part of the program.
Yeah, they're gonna-
But even if we build a brand new sidewalk
Yes.
in the right place, they're still gonna tear it out?
They'll have to for services and stuff, they're gonna dig that all up.
Well,
Oh, okay,
David,
all right. Okay.
we put all the infrastructure in on Route 7 South,
Yeah. And it's
right,
wrong,
right in where they wanted, and we're still gonna pay another $200,000 to have it
because
fixed.
now it's wrong. They changed the
112,000.
112,000 because they changed the darn,
Storm drains.
storm drainage things.
They may or may not be water lines and sewer lines.
Yeah.
That's
all over
true,
that
that's
place.
true, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, I'm
So
sorry,
that's-
yeah, that I
that's
did
what
not
we-
think
yeah.
of.
Well, having
There's
done
water.
water and sewer on many jobs over the years, I bet that's a bunch of spaghetti down there.
Oh,
Oh, that's a
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We
yeah.
did West Rutland, they found water lines in West Rutland they didn't even know
They
existed.
had.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Good example, take a
There
look
was
at
one
Brandon, what's going on up there
West
right now.
line
Oh,
to
yeah.
take care of 10 houses.
Yeah.
Please don't say you did.
Oh, I know.
I think Pittsford will look just like Brandon
Oh.
has for the last 2 years.
Of course it
they
will,
get
when it
around to
happens.
do something.
Yeah,
When it happens, it will.
yep.
I hope it turns out as well.
I hope so.
You know,
It's gonna be beautiful.
They're
Yep.
looking better up there.
Oh, they're getting there, but along these lines, okay, and I don't wanna cut into, you're getting the motion to do this. The letter that goes to the state, and I still think we need to send a letter, not necessarily so much about the sidewalk, but to try to get them to fix this road through our town.
It needs to be repaved and.
Well, no,
For
do
one
what they're gonna do, because, and I'll go back to being on the planning commission. What is it, the community development and whatever, the board up in the state that runs Rutland Regional, their boss, is mad at Pittsford. And I hear about it every meeting I go down there. Somebody brings up some smart aleck remark about Pittsford. Because they don't like the fact that we expanded our commercial zone out 7, like it used to be, and expanded it out Route 3, like it used to be. One of the main reasons, one of the reasons the planning commission did that is because there's very little room in Pittsford. Number one, and number two, no one in their right mind, especially who has seen what is going on in Brandon, is gonna come to Pittsford and open a business along Route 7 until that road is fixed.
Yep.
And if they wanna get mad at us about our town plan, then they better get off their butts and fix our road. And then maybe we can get some of these businesses that they want so dearly in our downtown.
Which the problem is you're dealing with different
Different
parts of.
And-
I
and the
understand
problem-
that.
The problem is, they're pissed at us, they'll give them more reason not to do anything.
Well, they're already pissed at us, so it's,
Well, yeah, but you're just giving them more information.
more
I
information.
suppose,
Because we've been down this road before on another project with them.
okay.
Yep.
To go
Well, they
on-
handed
go
the
on-
planning commission a bunch of guidelines and you fellows used your own head. You didn't necessarily do what they wanted.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why.
That's the problem.
That's the
Well,
problem.
yeah,
You know,
oh, I know, yeah.
And I wanna thank the planning commission for
They've
doing
done a
what
good
they
job,
did,
I think.
because They did a damn good
I thought they
job.
did too.
They did an
I
excellent
went to a
job.
lot of meetings.
I'm on the fence.
Yeah, of course you're on the fence.
Yeah, you're on
That's
it.
all right, at least you're on the fence.
Yeah, don't fall off.
Yeah.
Well, I make the
Or
motion.
fall the right way.
I make the motion that we commit to the full amount,
Up to the full amount.
up to the full amount this evening, to move forward with plans, and then we'll work, see if we can do something
More
more
economical.
economical. But I think we gotta make the commitment first, to
Yeah,
get the ball rolling.
Do I have a second?
second.
All right,
It might
we
even
have
be
a-
tough for us to persuade V-Trans to come until we've at
Exactly.
least committed to it.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion on the motion?
I would like to think that we would get all the information that is possible on what can be done and can't be done before we make a commitment to spend
We
any
need to commit.
money.
I think we need to commit.
Right.
We've been-
While I agree with you,
I-
Joe,
and
unfortunately,
we-
that's not the way the state of Vermont works.
No.
Well,
They want to hold you hostage, and so
And
you
they
make
do.
the
And
commitment,
they do.
And they do.
and they do. And I think, you know, hopefully, we can figure out a more economical way to do this.
Well, I hope we can.
they should be, and they may be, but will the state allow it?
Well, that's
we're gonna-
why
that's
we
what we're
need
gonna
to,
find out.
we
That's
need
what we're
to
gonna
get
find out
the
and get 'em
person
in
in,
John's
and,
gonna do that. You're gonna get hold and get them in here in
Whereas
our next
Johnson's, I
meeting.
don't- I don't
But we
think
need the commitment.
You're not gonna get them down here without a commitment. They're not gonna waste their
no, they aren't gonna,
No.
no, if we haven't committed, that's
They
the
won't
problem.
even
They're gonna
And-
thumb their nose at us.
Probably
That's what they're gonna
right.
do.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, you may not get them anyway, but,
Might not.
Well,
It-
we will, they will be involved at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Sooner the better.
Good luck, yeah.
yeah.
So we don't
Any
waste
other
our time.
discussion? I'm gonna call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay.
Hey,
4 against, 1.
Now, I have another motion. I
Four,
propose
four,
that- I
favor,
propose
one
that the
opposed.
letter that we
Have drafted,
drafted not be sent.
hold the letter.
Hold the letter.
buying a pair of shoes and not trying them on.
I'll second the motion. Got a motion to hold the letter. A second, until we find out what's going on.
I-
Any discussion?
The only way that I will agree to that is, I will agree to holding the letter. I will not agree to not sending a letter, because I think at
Oh,
some
it's-
point, we need to send them a letter saying, listen, you know, this section of 7 South is not in bad shape. Our village
It's in
is
terrible
dying.
shape. It's
We
dying.
need it fixed.
We need
So
some
that's the
paper.
only way I will agree with that motion,
Well,
is
that's-
if we
that's-
agree at a later date
And
to
that's,
send it.
and that's kind of a different letter.
That's a
It's not
different-
asking
Well,
for more money for our project, it's
Right,
asking for
it's-
attention to the
right,
village.
Attention to the
I
village.
wouldn't have a problem with that,
No, I
Dave.
don't have a problem with that either. We
I-
need to do that. Let's not send this
You
letter.
sent
yet.
it,
Pause
we'll-
Oh, that,
Right,
okay,
put a
that's,
pause on this one, hold this one.
hold it,
now.
okay, yep.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I can tell you, at the meeting
can
where
draft-
at the meeting where we had the unfortunate confirmation of the 112,000 extra for segment 1's water work to
Right.
accommodate storm drains, Butch Shaw took advantage of the fact that we had 5 V-Trans people here with us, saying, given that we're looking at 10 years or so for the village reconstruction project, can't you do some more of, rut filling and some attention to the road in the village as a temporary
That
measure?
needs a shim coat all
And
the way through it.
they said they would look into it, consider it. Certainly no commitment, but Butch has already started that discussion
Process.
about some help for the
Then
village
we need a
road.
strong
Yeah,
letter.
but we need it, if,
If you're talking full
some of you guys are businessmen, if you
Yeah.
were coming to Pittsford and gonna open a business on that road, would you do it knowing what was happening in Brandon was
No, but
looming?
we've been in the same position for 50 years.
Yeah, and
We did have
I understand that, but it,
promises,
That's all it is, promises.
exactly, and
And,
it needs
on a
to,
program that was gonna cut the time down from an average of 22 years from start to finish, it's gonna be 50 years from start to finish. And on a pilot program to speed things up.
yeah. It was
That's
called, it was called the fast track. And we're on the fast track.
but again,
Route 7 upgrade from Pittsford to Brandon, fast track.
well, there's, if you go up my pasture, there's a survey marker from
Well,
back
yeah.
in the 50s,
where
where they,
new road was
they were
coming
gonna
through.
put the new road through, the
Yep.
new road through,
So
and that's.
thank you for
yeah.
making my point.
No, but I'm saying, I think we need to harp on them about it, because it's
Well, just-
they want everybody moved into these village centers. I don't agree with that. I get it. After, I mean, I travel around, and yeah, it's nice to be in a hotel or whatever and be able to walk to where you wanna eat and whatever. I get why people wanna live that way. But there's some of us that don't wanna live that way, and you shouldn't be forcing people to live that way. But if our village was more user-friendly, we might get some more business in it.
But just to explain
Listen,
the V-Trans.
we have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Let's,
Yep.
Get back
any
to
further
the-
discussion on this
No,
letter?
No.
Are we clear what we're doing?
You're voting
We're-
to
The
hold the
motion is
letter.
to
Hold
hold
the
the
letter.
letter.
That's it.
That's it, that's
That's
all
it.
we're doing.
Yep.
All right, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of holding the letter, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Unanimous.
Now, Dave, make your
Well,
motion.
let me just jump in there and explain that, as you know, I think you probably already know this, there are 4 Route 7 segments in Pittsford.
Yep.
First among the 4 slated now to be addressed is segment 1, south of the mobile station, and that'll be done now into next year.
They're setting poles now.
3 and
Are they?
4 are on the slate to go in one order or the other, 4 then 3 or 3 then 4. And definitely, they're looking at the village segment as the last one, 2028, because each segment takes 2.5 years to do, and they have guidance not to do more than one segment at a time.
You're not gonna get that changed,
That won't change.
guaranteed.
That-
But it's worth a
We
try.
can try.
Well, the worst is, it's another 50 years, which it may be anyway.
But what we could request is they put a shim coat of
And that's what I
pavement.
was mentioning that Butch was pressing
Right.
them for.
Exactly.
Some
At
help
least
in
to
the meantime.
repave, because it's gonna be 10 years before they're gonna dig it up.
And I'm not against it, but I'm just, again, for the life of the village,
They need to do something.
they need to fix our road.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And a shim coat isn't gonna,
Well,
a shim, no, granted, but the thing is, if you're going and you're gonna open up, say the cow pizza place or whatever, that used, when I was a little kid, or when I was in school, that was a
Store.
thriving store.
Yeah, Pete's Store.
You know, let's just say somebody bought that and wanted to do something there. Nobody's gonna do it until they know if they're gonna have parking, if people are gonna be able to walk to their place. Nobody's gonna do anything until they know those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And if they do it, and the construction comes through, they'll be bankrupt. So, you know, that's the issue.
Someplace up here, John, we've got a set of
Oh, I know.
drawings
Yeah.
we
that
do.
cover all,
whole
the whole,
sphere.
the whole marble wall. It gives you all of Pittsford's things in it.
Not to mention the bypass that they were considering.
No,
Oh,
but
yeah?
we do have the village all
It's
laid
gotta be-
out.
The maps, the blueprints have gotta be,
See, my
25
feeling, and
feet
I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, but Route 7 should go, you got the sharp corner by Camutas, right straight down over the hill, right down Arch Street, and right out through. That would be the ideal place. I'm not, I know I'm making a lot of enemies on Arch Street, and I'm not saying we should, but logically, that is where Route 7 would go.
It would line up better.
It would line up better, and that would give us that Route 7 segment with the school and everything else to have a similar entity to
but
Brandon.
because they don't own the land,
It also
it'd be 100 years for them to acquire the land.
I understand that, I
Also,
understand
they go
that.
from the truck route out that way and out by Markowski's, that's where it was scheduled to go to, right through my house.
And there was one, there was
yeah,
one
yeah.
plan, Tommy, that went right through my house.
The one goes right through my house.
Right in my
And there was a
driveway.
bridge right across the brook here, the brook.
Are you
Yep.
upset about that? And I just, no, I'll take the cash and
By,
move someplace else.
Well, yeah,
Sugar Hollow Road, those houses right through that, the bridge was right there, Sugar Hollow, right straight through.
well,
That was back in the.
All right, let's
late
move on.
50s. Okay, yes, we
Let's
need
move
to,
on.
yep.
yeah, it's gonna be a late night. So. Alright, now you got me all messed up.
Pittsford Day.
Always trying to help.
Pittsford Day, yeah,
There we go.
we get
Yeah,
that
so
done.
for everybody paying attention, we are out with Pittsford Day announcements in the Brandon Reporter. I think that came out today. With this colorful flyer, pointing out that we have road races and a cornhole tournament in the morning hours, or early afternoon hours. And then at 2 o'clock, all the real festivities begin, including a silent auction, car show, snow cones and face painting courtesy of the library, kids activities including the bouncy house, obstacle course, Duncan booth, slip and slide, balloon art, magic show, petting zoo with baby lambs, and I'm told we're going to have perhaps a canine demonstration from the
Yes.
state police, Woodchuck's Revenge Band featuring the Cadies, a square dancing demonstration, helicopter fly-in. The Resolution Band will take the stage right before the barbecue hosted by Keith's. Satin and Steel provided by a generous contribution of Omia. Fireworks followed by DJ music into the wee hours. So everybody should come and enjoy Pittsford Day. All are welcome.
Now, what time is the very beginning of all this?
The
Well, actually,
8 o'clock,
no,
is
no,
the 8 o'clock is the
the
registration
race.
for the
Yeah.
race,
Yeah,
for the
race.
first race.
Okay.
9:30 is the registration for the kids' fun run. The cornhole tournament will take place 12 to 2, and then everything else begins at 2
At 2.
o'clock.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
So if you're not cornholing or racing, come at 2.
What are you gonna do, Joe?
The car shows it too.
Go get a load of logs.
Now that's funny.
Yes.
I don't care who you are.
Inappropriate, yes, but funny.
Depends how one interprets it, I suppose.
I guess. Yeah.
I don't know where mine's were. Oh, lordy.
Okay.
At least we have a little.
All right, yeah, I gotta have some fun once in a while. Okay, let's go back into new business. What did we, okay, we need to do some loan stuff here.
Yes, the Depot Hill project, as I mentioned, is in design phase, and the good news is that what we will end up doing is seeking loan funds to do the design work, and then on the assumption that the project will go forward thereafter, which it certainly will, 50% of that is forgivable. So we're only gonna pay 50 cents on the dollar of the loan. So that's good news. That's the state kind of get rid of some excess money that they thought they were gonna spend on Lake Champlain, but which is available for towns now to use instead.
You signed this one, John?
Yeah, there's several documents to be signed, and I just need you to kind of walk through it, Tom. There's 2 pages that require the full select board
that's what I was
signatures,
looking
and
for.
one that requires the chair's signature, and then there's some for Helen to sign.
Question, John.
Yes.
So, this is the sewer bond that we voted,
Yes.
and how much did we vote on?
Is it 90 something?
I forget, it was, I think, just
Shy of $1 million.
Oh, yeah, that's right. that was
And you're
the
saying we're
million.
only gonna have to pay back half?
No,
of it?
the design work, the engineering
Oh,
design work is
design.
forgivable on a 50%
The
basis.
design work,
We
yes,
still
not the
haven't got
whole
the
thing.
final
Everybody
best
else.
package from the
Let's do it
state,
on this one.
which looks to be more like
Right?
a 2% loan with an extended period of payback. Well, it turns out that the feds have a new way to measure municipal poverty
trade,
and or wealth, and Pittsford is not eligible for the grant package that we did on the previous projects because they changed their rules on how to measure that. So the state will probably give us the best loan package.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify
Oh,
that,
yeah.
because it,
Yep.
No,
when
no.
you said we only
That
had to
would
pay
be
back
great.
half, that would,
Yeah.
yeah, that was something
That would've
people.
been nice.
That would've been nice, yes.
Wherever possible, we're gonna try to keep costs down.
There is no
'Cause
Santa
it-
Claus.
We know the rate,
No.
we know the rate payers will have to deal with it.
Just the top 2. Kelly, yeah,
I don't know if you've looked at all the little sticky sheets, but yeah,
I
there's
did.
several places for people
Yeah,
to sign.
there's
Thanks.
2 that we have to do.
Yeah.
The rest are-
Yeah.
So there's just two
Just
here
the
that
2
we all
pages.
signed?
Yeah.
We all
Okay.
signed, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll recess the select board and go into the liquor board.
Thunder.
Ooh,
Olmia's gonna have like a staff appreciation event at the rec, and
Yeah,
Helen
just nice.
needs your permission to sign off on a permit that is for the catering firm. And she's confident that Olmia, being a very responsible
do,
citizen,
yeah.
will do things.
we need a
properly.
motion or just consensus?
I think if it's in the minutes that you generally have approval of it, no motion is necessary. I'll
Need a
report
motion?
that to Helen.
I'll make make the motion.
I second it.
We have a motion, second to approve it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They got it.
Okay, great.
That was quick.
Got it before you even got a chance to think about what we were talking about.
All right,
You
well,
just sat there like, what's going on?
we'll recess the liquor
I
board.
wanted to see if anybody catch me.
We'll
Have a
recon,
party permit either.
we'll reconvene the select board, and I guess that's all that's on their agenda this evening. We thank everybody for coming. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you,
And
Bill.
we will go into executive session.
Hold on, we'll
All right.
go
Do you
down.
need a-